Why, hello there. This is Agent Jules reporting for duty. Today I'm going to try something new on this channel and reveal my highly guarded secret as to how I create the many speed paints you've witnessed on my channel. Also, as you can probably tell, I'm doing a bit of a different format. You are not seeing my usual pretty face, and you are now seeing my new pretty face. For today's video in speed paint, I'll be showing 3 different speed paints I've been making through the week and show you their features. So without further ado, let's go ahead and buckle into our favorite chair, whether it's live action or animated. Pick up your drawing apparatus and tickle the sacred buttons, of course, and prepare to be amazed. Okay, first speed paint we have here is my OC Sir Brick the Black from my cartoon SCHNEEEVIL. This particular picture is just me playing around with sword designs, so nothing too terribly fancy. Now, the technical side of speed painting. The first thing I do is record all of my drawings with a nice little tool called OBS Studio. It is totally free, so if you're looking to screen capture things on your pewter, then, well, it's a good thing to grab. Oh, by the way, funny little anecdote. When I first started this channel and doing speed paints, I had a dinky little laptop that I had to do everything on. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to isolate the screen grab of Clip Studio Paint, which, by the way, is my go-to choice for drawing program. So when I did the recordings, I had to do straight to desktop capture, meaning that every little pop-up that happened during the recording had to be accounted for and then cut out. And let me tell you, these pop-ups were relentless. But fortunately nowadays I just capture directly from Clip Studio Paint, so it's not a big deal anymore. Anyway, yeah, so the recording part is pretty straightforward. I just turn it on and I start drawing until I'm done. And then go ahead and gather up all the drawings I do, put it in Premiere Pro, and then speed them all up. So no, it's not like I sniff a bunch of cocaine in order to draw that fast. That would be pretty crazy. It would be a very useful superpower to have, to draw really fast on drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. Then of course I record and talk over it, the end. And that pretty much is the simplistic technical side of how I do these speed paints. Nice and cut and dry. Just about anyone with a working computer can do it. That being said, I find that I do draw a bit differently when I record myself versus when I do not. You don't really see it much in this particular pic with Sir Brick because all I'm doing is just tracing swords and changing the design a little, but I'll cover how I draw differently in the next speed paint. This speed paint is a relatively simple one. It is starring, technically, my Ocvelicia, who is the main character from SCHNEEEVIL, and probably someone you recognize if you watch my channel from my big old Velicia cosplays series. Right now, this little pic is just her being tiny in the picture because she's marveling at this giant eyeball that she built for nefarious purposes, and marveling over the creation like the nutty little narcissist she is. This particular drawing, as you can see, is simple because I'm using a nice little trick, one of my favorite tools in Clip Studio Paint, which is the symmetry tool. It literally cuts my workload in half. So, speaking of which, this leads into how I draw differently during recordings. You see, when I record, it is specifically for business. And of course, when I'm not recording, it's usually for pleasure. Now, I've done business stuff not recorded, but I have never recorded something that I'm only doing just for funsies. This means that I have 2 distinct mindsets in art, and the ironic thing about it is that I think I draw better recording myself doing it for business than I do on my own time for pleasure. You see, I have been cranking out speed paints weekly for years now, so it's a habit I've developed, and I know that once that record button is hit, a job needs to get done. I don't second guess myself. I don't really get art block anymore because I really can't afford to because of my deadlines I set for myself. And so whatever I crank out, for better or for worse. Even in instances where I don't think something looks good, I just deal with it and move on. The funny thing is that this very mindset has led me to be more creative in ways than just being, loosey-goosey on my own time, which I will now dive further into in the 3rd speed paint. Alrighty, so this last speed paint is of Destructica, another OC, and of course another character from SCHNEEEVIL. Now, Destructica's whole shtick is that Velicia created her from her own blood and experimentation, so Destructica is technically Velicia's daughter, and the whole point is that Destructica is a war machine. She was built specifically to cause mayhem. And so, whenever she gets angry, much like the Hulk, she kind of hulks out and then goes nutty. So right now, I'm kind of playing around with her design to show what she would look like when she hulks out. Nothing big. it's just that now she has defined musculature, which I needed to be creative in order to put on her normal cartoony egg-shaped body in order for it to actually blend well with the original design. So here we have me needing to be creative and experiment with something, but at the same time I'm recording it, meaning I'm on a deadline and I need to make something quick. Left with no other choice, I just go with what feels right at the time and see what sticks. And sure enough, I think I have something that doesn't look too half bad. It's kind of weird sticking detailed musculature, I must admit, on her aforementioned cartoony egg-shaped body, because normally being round and cartoony, it doesn't really lend itself to being anatomically correct. But it also allows leeway because she's supposed to be a monster, so bizarre body morphing isn't really out of the question. So, despite my time constraints, I'm able to get something out in time for a video, which is the one you're watching right now. And it all culminates to this great quote that I once heard, and I can't remember who said it, and it kills me, but here's the paraphrase of the quote. Perfect is the enemy of good. Sometimes you just gotta do something and get it out there, because something that's okay and exists will always be better than something that is theoretically perfect but doesn't exist at all. And to kind of wrap things up here, that is ultimately the philosophy of my speed paint. It is better to get something out that's good enough than to hum and haw and mull it over and try to make the perfect picture, but never ever ever get it out. In a way, I am literally drawing fast because of course I'm using technology to enhance the speed at which you witness me creating stuff, but at the same time I'm also on a deadline, so I am forced to constantly be creating. And honestly, me doing these speed paints, I believe, has made me at the very least, more efficient artist. So there you have it, folks. That is the secrets, the Agent Juice secret of how I create art. I hope you like this change of pace of video. I'm going to experiment with it further. You know what to do. Go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what you think. Go ahead and check out my other links on the interbuts if you wish to stalk me further. And with all that said, I thank you for this time spent with me. I do hope you all stick around. And until next time, deuces.